In our yesterday session, we discussed about string data type, okay, and character data type. So to be continuing here, so when coming to the data types concept, we have multiple data types. Numeric data type, okay, just a second. So if you see from F1 help, so everything whatever we are learning, we can see the examples from the F1 help, and almost we can get everything here. Hmm. So when coming to the built-in ABAP types, we have numeric type, character type, and date type. Byte I'm not going to discuss. Okay, date, time, and timestamp. So these are the three different categories in the data types. So we in the numeric data type, we already these are the different multiple like under numeric data type. These are the again multiple types we can define. What is this byte? Okay, BSI int P for package number, and then decimal number, floating number. So all these data types support on the numeric fields. Okay, but what was the difference when comes to the difference? The number range, it holds difference. For example, if you create any any field of with the data type B, then this is a B is a numeric data type which can store data from 0 to 255 range only. So if the number is a very small range, then you can go for this data type. So doing so, what is the benefit here? The number of the space it occupies while the program is executing will be minimal. So 1 byte only it occupies. Okay, but if you define a number of type S, then this can be the number range. So max, this is the lowest number, this is the maximum number it can store. And similarly, yesterday we learned about integer. So this can store, minimum this number, maximum this number. So mostly that's why whenever we define some variables of type integer, I will always go to integer so that it can, works for most of the scenarios. Okay, so this BSI and int. So all these numbers are integer numbers. Okay, int 8 is a very big number. Whenever you have very requirement to store a very big integer number, then you can go for int 8. So there is nothing difference, only the difference will come when you're defining a variable. For example, LV underscore a type. So after type, it's up to you whichever data type you want to keep here, either B, RS, or I, or int 8. Anything you can give, and then you can store your corresponding value. Okay, so nothing to discuss much, for each and everything. So if we learn about integer, then the same case will apply for the BS and int 8 also. Okay, but coming to the P, which is nothing but packet number. So in order to store any decimal numbers, we go for P. So P is, if you see here, P is nothing but packet number. The valid length of the packet number is between 1 and 16 bytes. Okay, and then after the decimal places up to 14 decimal places. It is saying it supports till 16 bytes, and you can support up to 14 decimal places. Okay, so simply in our ABAP terminology, whenever you wish to create any variable for to store decimal number, then simply go for a data type P. Okay, that is the simplest way to say here. So now we are going to learn this P, decimal number data type. Okay, the first topic we are going to discuss is the decimal number data type, and after this floating point also follows the same kind of functionality, so I don't explain this floating point also. Integer and this decimal P packet number is enough for the numeric data types. Okay, now let's see some examples on the decimal data type. I am defining two variables for just like yesterday to do a summation of a into b, and then a by b. Okay, a plus b. So I am defining one info object, one variable of type P. But when you defining a field with P, there is a difference here. You cannot create simply with P. When you defining it, you need to specify the length. Okay, so length, how much length you want to give? For example, length 4. Okay, and number of decimals you are going to give also, it must be a tell. So integer simply I is enough, but P is a decimal number, so you need to tell what is the length of the decimal number and what is the number of decimals again it holds. So you need to define these things. So similarly, now I am going to define one more LV underscore B type, so like let's use this integer here. Okay, now I am going to create LV underscore result variable of type again P, length 4 and decimals 2. So I defined three variables, two variables of decimal type, one variable of integer type. Now it's time to store value. LV underscore A is equal to, so even though I defined a decimal variable, at this point of time I wish to provide integer value 10 here. Okay, and then LV underscore B is equal to let's take 3 here. Okay, and then now LV underscore result is equal to LV underscore A divided by LV underscore A divided by LV underscore B. Now I am writing my result into the output, LV underscore result. So now check this code whether any syntax errors are there. No syntax errors, and then activate it. So when you're activating it, next now I'm going to execute it. So now what is my result now? You see 3, 3, 3. You see actually because I defined the length of the variable, in the result variable, I defined the decimal places as 2. That's why you can see only 2 decimal places, 3, 3, 3, 3. 3 comma is nothing but your decimal operator here, and 33 is your decimal numbers. Okay, now let's debug this code and look in further how it is exactly working. So I'm going to debugging mode. Now I'm double clicking on my parameter. You see when I double click on LV underscore A variable, now it is a decimal number with the decimal places 2. If it is an integer, you can see 0. Since it is a decimal number with the decimal places 2, that's why it is showing 0.00 as a default number. When it comes to B, since it is an integer number, it is showing simply 0 here. When you go to LV underscore result, again it is an integer decimal number with the decimal places 2. It is just showing like this. Okay. Now when you divide it by 10 divided by 2, so what is happening? When I press F5, then what happens? It comes here, 10 will be assigned. Even though you are trying to assign an integer to a decimal number, it still shows because the data type of this variable is decimal, still it holds the decimal numbers. Okay, decimal places. B is 10, 3 got assigned, and L result will be 3.33. Okay, and it will be displayed on the output. So now what we are going to do is, now let's increase the number of decimal places through to 4, 5. Is it possible to do 4, 5? It is not possible. Okay, so we need to give in a different way. For example, here I given the length as 4, and I would like to give my decimal places as 5. Okay, so no, not here. Let me try it here. What happens? I'm just doing a trial and error method. So I given a length as 4 and I given decimal places as 5. So will system accept it? Okay, system is accepting it. I am activating it. I am executing it. So you see now what happened? It taken 3, 5 decimal places. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It means what exactly you understand here? The length is separate field and the decimal is separate field. Okay, now what I am going to do is here I am giving 1000 and I am changing it to 2 here. So what exactly the answer for 1000 divided by 3? I am taking 1000 here and then divided by 3. So my answer will be 333.3333. So actually my decimal places and before whatever decimal places is the something I forgot that field. Okay, numerator something will be there. So that is 333. So which holds this is the one. But I given less number, then what will be my output? The number of decimal places cannot exceed the total number of digits. Okay, the number of decimal places cannot exceed the total number of digits. Warning message. Digits means. Let's see, activate it. Since it is a warning, still system will activate it. If I execute it, it will go to dump. So this is nothing but dump error. What is the dump here? Overflow during arithmetic operation. So this is expected value. Why? Because what happened here? If you the result field of type P is too small to store the result. Yes, why? Because if you see when we are executing this one, the result will be 333.3333. But whatever program in the program, whatever we created, it is we are giving the length, the max length to store the before decimal before preceding value is only 2. That's why system unable to store the value under my result, it is giving dump value. So that's why when you're defining this decimal types, make sure you provided corresponding at least whatever as per your requirement, you must provide properly. You must define properly, or else it will throw this kind of error messages only. 1 to 16 only it will accept, sir. So I need to give 16 here. Okay, activate and then execute. So if you give in this kind, then it will show properly. Okay, na? So that is important point. So when you're defining, when you're working with the decimal types, so whatever length and whatever decimal places you are giving, you must keep a key eye on it, because on your test cases it may work properly, but when it works with real data, you may get some terms. So if you not define them properly, so this is how to work with the decimal places. Okay, so now next important point is, even though I defined my variable as a decimal number, I always trying to store here integer. Now let's know what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to store my one of the decimal number. So let's take 4.5. Okay, so you see it is showing red color. Why? Because when you are trying to store a decimal number into a variable, you must, like a string, how you are going to insert in between the single quotes, even decimal numbers also you must provide within the single quotes. Okay, so 4.5 must be given in this way. Only if it is an integer type, you can give it directly without any single quotes. Apart from this integer, any type of data type you are trying to assign to a variable, you must give it under the single quotes when it is a constant. Okay, so 4.5 is a constant number which I am giving to my variable, so I must put within the single quotes. Okay, so now activate it and try to execute it. Now you see 1.5. Now the result of this is actually 4.5 divided by 3. 4.5 divided by 3. So what will be the result? 1.5 only. But what happened? It is showing 1.500. So why it is showing again 2 zeros extra on at the end? Because in my definition, the result I defined decimal places as 3. So how many decimal places it can come as part of the result? It will be, you will see like this. Anything is still remaining, then it will be automatically prefixed with the zeros. Okay, paired with the zeros at the end. Okay, so this is how this decimal data type works in ABAP. So I hope it is clear. So it is very simple. Simply you need to define the variable with the data type P and then followed by length and decimals. But while defining the length and decimals, you make sure you provide them properly. Okay. So since the max length is 16, so you can use it. And but later time, at this point of time, because we are in the beginning of the ABAP program, so I am not telling anything, which we use in our BW terminology. So this is purely ABAP terminology. When coming to BW side, BW ABAP, generally instead of defining these variables along with the data type, we generally use data elements. So we come to that concept in some time. Okay, so now this is all about decimal number data type. Okay, so we are done with decimal number data type. Next time I'm going to the date format. Okay, in our F1 help, so what we seen earlier, after a date we are going to see date data type. So LV underscore data, LV underscore date type. 1 minute, yeah, let it be. So type D. So if you define anything like this D, then it is nothing but date data type. D. LV underscore date. How to say here? So in the date, so D means nothing but here date data type. Okay. You see, so already we learned about numeric data types and we learned about character data types. Already what is C and what is string, yesterday session we covered, and now I am going to cover about this date data type. Okay, so date data type is nothing but it contains 8 characters. So by default the date was stored in SAP always in the by MMDD. So 8 characters. So what was the default format of date in our BW? It's YY MMDD. So anywhere if your system is storing date, it will store in this format only. For example, to this LV date one, if you want to provide date here, then how you need to provide? So 2022, 20, and then 08. Sorry, month, right? 2022 08, and what is today's date? It is 19. So let's give in this way, and then now try to write this date on the system. Date one. Activate. execute. You see 190822. So if you see here, you given the date in the format of YYYY MMDD, but when displaying it on the output, system is displaying in MM, DD MMYYY, because this is nothing but a system output format. Okay, so in every SAP system, as per the configuration maintained at the server level, the date format will be decided. So in this particular SAP system, it was showing in this way. For example, in some other systems, if they maintain the format as mm/dd/yy, then it will show date in this way. So date automatically converted into the system format and it will be displayed on the output screen. But whenever we are dealing it with from the backend, it always must follow this kind only. Okay, so this like this. So now what is the use of defining, now you can define this date in a normal way also. It means with string also you can define this date. But what is the need of explicitly defining a variable of type date? Because if you define a variable of date type, then you can perform some operations on it, arithmetic operations. So now LV underscore date 2 is equal to LV underscore date 1 plus plus 10. So if I do plus 10 and then I try to write this statement output on the output screen. So what I did, I have under LV underscore date 1, I have my date number 19 August. So to this date I am going to add 10. So it means I am trying to add 10 days to this date number and trying to display that output. You see it came 2908. Yeah, so adding 10 is always okay because 10 got added to here 29. Now what happen if I add 20 as a numeric number? If you add 20, it will become 39. But when you execute this one here, let's activate this one and execute. You see it went to the next month, September month 8th. So it considered the date till 31st of August and then it added the remaining dates from the September month. So the addition of date is happened properly. Okay, now that is important. If system consider this as a numeric number, the value must be 39, but 39 is not a valid date at all. So since we defined these two as a date data type, system understands it is a date calendar, and after 31st August, it went to September 1st and added the dates. Okay, na? So that's why it is important to define this variable in date type when you have such kind of requirements to add some dates or subtract some days. For example, if you want to subtract 200 days from the current date and see what is your result, okay, then the result will be like this, 31st January 2022. What is it? 200 days? Yeah, 200 days. Yes, super. Currently we went to the first January. So now, I hope it is understand. This is data type. Okay. So there is nothing much to learn about this one. Simply we need to know this data type as D here to work on this one kind of things. So just a second. So as I said here, what happens when we are executing this program? Okay, so when we are executing this program, whatever display we are getting, the display format. Okay, there will be in SAP BW, not in SAP. In SAP there are two formats. One is input format, output format. Okay, so the date output format was defined somewhere in the system settings in the same way. DD MMYY. For that reason, exactly system is showing in a different format. Okay, so that setting where exactly they maintained, I am not aware of. But to work with date format, we need to, because we are learning ABAP. So when you work with the date format in the backend, you must work in this way. When you provide some value to the date format, you must give in this way only. Okay, so while displaying it, okay, it will system as per the system properties. But still it is a date, valid date, 31 December, whatever you are trying to provide here, the same only it is displaying on the output. So that is important. Okay, I will try to check where is the system property and I will show you a later part. Okay, so this is about a date data type. Okay, so now coming to the timestamp. So what is timestamp? Timestamp stores, along with the date, it stores the, hours, minutes and seconds also. So we can simply try to understand this timestamp also. 1 minute. Let's give T here. Okay, let's give T here. I am not going to perform any arithmetic operations on a timestamp, but I will try to store some value and display it on the output screen. For example, I am trying to store, today's 19th August, and then time, for example, 0600 and 00. So hours, minutes, seconds. The first two is hours, second two is minutes, and then seconds. So I'm trying to check this one, and I'm trying to write output of this into output string, date one, and then activate this program, and then execute it. You see, 2208. What happened? Why it is showing like this? 2208. Timestamp, it is not displaying completely. How come? One second. So I don't know why it is not displaying proper return. One second. So let's what we do is let's define it as a D, and the time, this is the timestamp of type T. Okay, and then what we will do is under the date, what I will provide is only date information I'm providing under my thing, and then I will try to type here date underscore 2 is equal to LV underscore date 1. So, and I will try to display my date 2 here. Let me see it will work or not. So I don't know why system is not the LV date 1 cannot be converted into LV date 2 because LV date 2 is of time, timestamp. Okay, so that's why system is not able to display it. How? Okay, I will come to this timestamp. Okay, no? So I don't want to waste time here. So generally it must show timestamp format completely, but I don't know why system is not showing it in a proper way. We will see it in some time. Okay. D and T built-in adapter correspond to timestamp. T only if you see any 6. Okay. T means only time. Okay. Time field. I'm sorry. T means not timestamp. Okay. T is nothing but a time field. Okay. For that reason, it is showing only 6 characters. Okay. Sorry. I will discard whatever we recorded for this timestamp example. Okay, I will freshly tell about this timestamp. Okay, so time it is not timestamp. Okay, T is for the time field. Okay, time field. What is time field? Time field. Time field means hours, minutes, seconds. Okay, so hours, minutes, seconds means when you define a variable of when you define a variable of type T, then you can it stores the time information. Okay, so LV underscore. Now I am going to change this program a bit. Okay, let me delete this one. So data LV underscore time type T LV underscore time type T. Okay, so I defined two time variables. Sorry, two variables means time 1 and time 2. Okay, so now what I am going to do, LV underscore time 1, I am going to store a time value. So again, it is a time type. So I need to prevent, keep inside the single quotes. So let's give time as 0605 10 seconds means 6 hours 5 minutes 10 seconds. Okay, let's try to write this output in the output screen LV underscore time 1. So now activate, execute. You see 6 5 10, it is coming exactly the way how we given. Now what we are going to do is I am going to add 10 hours to this one. LV underscore time 1 is equal to time 2. Time 2 is equal to let's take 10 hours. 10 0 0 0 0. It is nothing but 10 hours. Okay. LV underscore time 2 is equal to LV underscore time 2 plus LV underscore time 1. Okay. Now let me try to give this one. You see, I got 16 5 10. Okay, so when I'm trying to add 10 hours to my time 2, means when I try to add time 1 and time 2, I'm trying to store my value under time 2 only. System able to store these two values. So what happens if I'm trying to add 20 hours to this one? Will it accept or not? Let's see. You see, it is accepting. It is accepting. At the same time, what is happening? It is accepting, and so 26 hours means actually we have 24 hours only, right? So it excludes 2 more hours. So now that's why what happening? It is again going to 2 hours 5 minutes 10 seconds. You see. So when you define a variable of timestamp, then when you are adding some extra time to it, system will take care of the additions. How exactly it is taking care of number of days addition in the similar fashion. When you are trying to add multiple times, the system will take care of after 24 hours it will reset the time again to 0 hour and then counts from there. Okay na? So this you must know because it's a simple understanding point of view. Better to have some information on this. So coming to the next data type, it is a timestamp field. So timestamp field means integer 8 type, which contains date along with the timestamp information. So when coming to this timestamp field, what we do, it is not to UTC log is the data type, but we will learn this timestamp field in a different way, not at this point, later point. Okay, so far we covered about date and the time, and then other decimals. Okay, decimal, integer, numeric point, and string and character. So these are the data types we covered. So next what I am going to cover for you is we have some system fields. So because when we talking about date and time, it is important to learn about system keywords. So what is system keyword? Now I am going to define two variables. Okay, LV underscore date type D and LV underscore time type T. Okay, under LV underscore date, I don't want to hard code any value. If I am giving anything under single quotes and full stop, nothing but this is nothing but a hard coded. It means constant value I am passing to it, because even if you execute this program after 10 days also, whatever you hard coded here, the same value will be typed here. But instead of say hard coding value, I want current date. Okay, so site datum is a system keyword where it always provides the current date information to you. Okay, now write LV underscore date. So now activating this program, executing this program. You see 2008 2008 2022 means if you see here in my system, my date is 20. Okay, current system date is 20, even though we are on 19th date, but system date is 20. That's why it is showing 2008 2022. Okay, so site datum is a system keyword where it stores the current date information. Okay, similarly we have one more variable called LV underscore time is equal to site time low, tim low. Okay, so this particular keyword stores the current system time. Okay, so I am going to write time information also on the screen, LV time, activating this and then executing it. So now the current time is 20:56:09, and if you see here 10:17 it is showing, but I don't know why it is showing. Okay, system, go to system and then status, system and then status, and here you see 20:56, the same we seen here. Okay, so if you see 20:56:09 is the current time. So site datum is a system keyword, and time law also system keyword. So how do we have many other system keywords like this? If you wish to learn all those keywords, simply put your cursor on the site datum, press F1. When you press F1, automatically it will opens ABAP system fields. One F1 help will come here, and if you click here, then you will get all the information about your system fields. So if you see here, where is it? All these are system fields only. System ABCA, batch, bint, caller, call no. It is not mandatory for us to learn all these things, but at least if you know where you can get this information, then it will be helpful. In our BW, whenever we write code, most of the times in my experience, I am using system datum, system time low, and then a few other things. So what are those things I need here? Those are 1 minute. Zone, time zone, under which time zone we are in. If you want to know, then user time zone will come by using system zone low, and username, what is your current username which you logged in, system uname, and then different time difference of system, T zone also important, and then size of batch is one of the very important keyword. We will get to learn this one in coming time, and then system messages numbers, line number, index number. Index number is one of the important. System index also one of them. System language is one of the important thing. And then datum, already we discussed about site datum. Date low, user date such as 1999. Date low, system fields or data. System data, user data. So system data, user data, if both are different, then it will give date low is the user specific one. But at this point, you don't need to understand about system data and user data. That is not required. That's it. So these are the important things which I used in my data, in my experience. That's it. Remaining all are not required. But whenever you go for complex web app and based upon your requirement of getting information, you need to you can use these system related keywords. Okay. I hope it is clear. So that's it. So by this time, what we done, we are done with the data types information. Okay. So from now on, what we are going to do, we are going to jump into the next topic.